Hey guys, welcome back to another video. With Dodge bringing back the FRATZOG logo on their 2024 all-new muscle car, it got me thinking about the past, and today we're going to do a history and evolution of the Dodge brand logos. I also want to do a full video on the Dodge brand history, so that will come after this. But today we're looking at every logo that Dodge used, from the very first one way back in 1910, all the way to the present day in 2022. We'll also check out all the Dodge slogans at the end. So let's get into it. So first, a very quick overview of the brand. Brothers John Francis Dodge and Horace Elgin Dodge founded what was called the Dodge Brothers Company Machine Shop in 1900. Originally, they were a supplier of parts and assemblies to other Detroit-based automakers like Ford, and it would be 14 years before they produced their own automobiles in 1914 under the Dodge Brothers name. Originally, they had been a supplier of parts and assemblies to other Detroit-based automakers like Ford, and it would be 14 years before they began building their own automobiles in 1914 under the Dodge Brothers name. Tragically, John died in January of 1920 from the Spanish flu, and Horace died later that year in December due to cirrhosis of the liver. Their family sold their company to Dillon Read & Co., a leading New York investment bank, on April 30 of 1925. It was the largest deal at the time for any automaker, with the total sum being $146 million, plus an additional $50 million that was given to various charities. The company was then sold to Chrysler in 1928. Many fascinating and mysterious logos have been used by Dodge throughout the past 100 years. Dodge used different logos depending on the model and vehicle purpose. Here are all the emblems that are used by Dodge since its inception, and note that many of the logos might have slight variations and redesigns that are used over the years of the same logo. The first logo from the Dodge brothers came out in 1910, a very simple icon with the letter D sitting ahead of the letter B, surrounded by 6 small circles. It represented a stylized bearing fitting for an automaker. This logo was actually used for the longest period of time, but wasn't really found on too many vehicles, but instead was found on the gate of the Dodge main factory in Hamtramck near Detroit, Michigan. It would stay on that gate until its demolition in 1981, after which GM built a larger assembly plant at the site. The first redesign of the Dodge identity came in 1914, as the Dodge brothers put a small enamel badge of this logo on the radiator of the first car they built that year. The logo was a circle with 2 interlocking black and white triangles that formed a 6-pointed star in the middle, with an interlocked DB again found in the center of the star. In the background was a black and white map of the world, and the words Dodge Brothers Motor Vehicles in white were enclosed within the black outer edge. That map design was meant to show that Dodge was known around the world. Beginning in 1928, the DB was removed from the center of the triangle, and the brothers' writing was dropped shortly after, but the star continued to be used with other variations like winged logos until 1938 on the cars, and then it was gone for the 1939 models. There's a lot of mystery and debate surrounding the true meaning of this logo, as the interlocking triangles look very similar to the Star of David, but the Dodge brothers were not Jewish, but rather Methodists. Some claim that this was done intentionally to piss off their main competitor Henry Ford, who was an anti-Semite, but others say that Ford and the Dodge Bros were friends. Some theories went as far as to suggest that this was the medieval symbol of mysticism, and is the unification of the mind and body, and in this case, the unification of 2 brothers. The triangles represented the brothers' engineering skill, while having one black and one white showed how different they were, but having them interlocked showed that they were inseparable. Chrysler later claimed that it was 2 Greek delta symbols, with the dark triangle representing the body and the white representing the soul, but no one truly knows, as the Dodge brothers had died in 1920 before explaining the meaning of the logo. The third logo would be used over the next several decades in addition to others, from 1928 to 1955. It's simply the words Dodge written in uppercase in narrow rounded serif font. This was a classic look that they could use on any vehicle or advertisement. In 1932, Dodge began using a new logo as the car's hood ornament, a leaping ram. This would overlap the previous DB star, with the ram on the outside and the DB star usually somewhere on the inside. Where did the ram come from? Well, the story goes that sculptor Avard T. Fairbanks, who was working at the University of Michigan in 1929, had needed a new car, and he offered his services to Chrysler Corporation in exchange for designing a hood ornament and getting a vehicle. He designed the Ram, but Walter P. Chrysler wasn't convinced, so Fairbanks asked what a person's first thought would be upon encountering a Ram in the wild. Chrysler responded with Dodge, and that fit perfectly. The ram is also an ancient symbol of Aries, signifying authority, force, fearlessness, and virility. Another fun fact, Rams are actually male bighorn sheep that are known for their large curved horns. Once the previous logo was gone, this logo became used more starting with the 1940 models. By 1951, Dodge was using just the head of the ram with the horns and not the entire leaping animal. This logo was last used on the 1954 model cars, officially dropped for the 1955 model year, and then it was gone for several decades before being brought back in the 1980s, which we'll cover later in the video. Still during the leaping ram era, Dodge introduced a crest in 1941. This was the Dodge family coat of arms, paying homage to the founding brothers. The design had horizontal bars intercepted by a middle vertical line, with an eye in the center, but the shape and design were changed several times. Various designs of this crest were used until 1957, and the knight's head was dropped in 1955. The crest would also reappear on the 1976 Dodge Aspen, used again until 1981 before being gone for good. The next logo was known as the forward look that was found on Chrysler vehicles from 1955 to 1962. Automobile designer Virgil Exner designed this logo with two overlapping boomerang shapes, and it was meant to suggest forward motion and technological progress as the times changed. The dynamic triangles were meant to have customers think of speed and the future. The forward look name came from the redesign campaign that Chrysler was using to market their new vehicles, so this logo kind of flew under the radar and wasn't as popular as some of the other designs, since it was overshadowed by the revamped vehicles themselves. Dodge would use the logo on the ignition, door key heads, decorative trims, and advertising, eventually retiring it in 1962. Dodge's next logo had a wacky name, the FRATZOG. This was simply three arrow shapes that pointed inwards to form a three-sided star. The name itself was meaningless. Dodge designers were coming up with a name for the logo, and someone came up with the term FRATZOG, and the executives decided to go with that. So again, the word is meaningless. This replaced the forward look logo, first used on the 1962 Polara 500 and 1962 Custom 880. Dodge's division used this logo on different badges and emblems on Dodge vehicles. They incorporated it in some other parts like the steering wheel center hubs and wheel covers, and they put it in their brand advertisements. It was one of the longest used Dodge logos, appearing from 1962 to 1981. Next up is again another form of Dodge text, this time in a title case with a modern custom sans serif font, with slanted letters with open contours. This would be used in addition to other logos on various vehicles from 1964 to 1993. The next logo is one of the most significant, that being the Pentastar logo. It is a pentagon shape with a star in between, and that's where the name comes from. Variations of this logo were actually used by Chrysler starting in 1962, like for their corporate buildings and head office, but Dodge adopted it starting around 1982, using it on their cars and trucks, and that would last until 1995. To distinguish between the different brands, in advertisements and on dealer signs, the Dodge Pentastar logo was red, while the Chrysler and Plymouth Pentastar was blue. As I mentioned earlier when covering logo number 4, the Ram's head logo made its return. Dodge actually reintroduced the Ram's head hood ornament on the 1973 Dodge Bighorn heavy-duty tractors, and gradually they were added to the pickup trucks as Dodge started calling them Rams, but it truly returned full-time in the 1990s. By this time, hood ornaments had grown out of style, so the Ram's head was just used as a logo. It appeared in late 1992 on the 1993 Dodge Intrepid, and by 1996 it was standardized for all Dodge models except for the Viper, which used the Viper's head. In advertising, the color of the Ram's head was usually red, with black Dodge text below it. The Ram would be used until 2010, when the Ram brand separated from Dodge and took the logo with it. One very odd thing that I came across, some people initially complained that the Ram's head looked like a uterus, as you can see by the diagram. So never did I think I'd be talking about the vagina in one of my videos. Moving on, starting in the mid-1990s, Dodge used a non-slanted version of the Dodge text in all caps, and this has been modified over time and found on many vehicles. Once Ram took their logo off to the trucks, Dodge needed something new to replace it. The new logo was revealed in May 2010, simply spelling out Dodge in silver or white shade, with two diagonal red stripes at the end. Some refer to the stripes as rhombi as they are two parallelograms. There's actually supposed to be some meaning here. The silver stands for purity, dignity, and grandeur, while the red is meant to symbolize speed, power, passion, and excitement. Those stripes were originally to be used only for marketing purposes, so it wasn't used on the exterior of 2011 vehicles. So if you do have a 2011 or see pictures of it, you'll notice that in the grille where it says Dodge, those stripes are not attached. but Dodge began adding it to the grills of the 2012 lineup of vehicles, and it's been used ever since. Dodge also more recently started adding a 4 on top of the red stripes on the rear of the vehicles. This is only on certain cars to indicate that the vehicle has all-wheel drive. At the same time, in mid to late 2010, Dodge also revealed a second emblem using their old emblem's 5-point shield outline with Dodge text in a chrome cross, and that reminds you of the brand's signature cross-haired grills. This logo was usually only found on the steering wheel of certain vehicles, and it was just replaced on the wheel by the word Dodge starting in 2014. Now, it looks like we will be seeing another logo return in 2024, that being the FRATZOG, which we already went over. From Dodge's EV Day in July 2021, CEO Tim Kuniskis showed a teaser of a concept vehicle with a lit-up version of the FRATZOG emblem. Dodge will be using the FRATZOG on their electric vehicles to help differentiate them from the standard internal combustion engine cars, which will keep the current Dodge Rhombus red dual stripes logo. Dodge says that using the FRATZOG is, quote, a nod to the future, which will bring about another great automotive era, the era of the electrified muscle car, end quote. Now, before we end off the video, we can't talk about logos without recognizing the company's slogans as well. There have been 14 main slogans that they have used throughout the brand's history, and you can find them on screen. The most recent one that they started to use in 2021 would be "Tear up the streets, not the planet," as Dodge tries to shift to electric vehicles in the future. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed taking a deeper look at the history of the Dodge brand logos and slogans. I found it fun to go in the past and see the evolution of the look and the meaning of some of these logos, showing just how much things change over time. Which logo is your favorite? Let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe for all your Mopar content, and I'll see you in the next video.